Run that back one more time. Welcome back, everybody. This is DDP. Now with the mic unmuted. False start there on my part. Bad rookie move, DDP. It has clearly been too often, or rather not often enough, that I have been doing these live streams, and so I'm a little bit rusty on the fly, it seems. But here we are with another Mavericks victory. This one a convincing victory headed into the All-Star break against the Sacramento Kings. I really think this might have been the best game. Yes, you get Luka back from a 7-game injury with the turned ankle, but you get probably the single best game of the Luka KP tandem we've seen thus far. And a lot of people look at it and they're like, well, yeah, but it's the last game before the All-Star break. They're over halfway through the season, so why is it taking so long? Well, if you consider the fact that prior to this game, either Luka and or KP had missed 16 of the last 21 games, we really just hadn't been healthy. That's what it boiled down to. Without Luka and or KP, this team I think was 13 and 12 or 12 and 13. No, 13 and 12. So basically a 500 team without at least one, if not both, of its superstars. So of course, that's how that's going to play out. It's an average team if you take one or especially both of those guys away. Although in those games, I think they're 1-1 now on the season. All the same, this is a team that is still finding its footing. And as Luka comes back from injury, and right before he heads into the All-Star break, where he's going to be a starter for the All-Star team, he puts up big numbers in this game, nearly a triple-double again. He drops 33 points. I want to say 12 rebounds. I can confirm it. That's what we do here, is we run through the stat sheet in post-game. So damn it, we're going to run through the stat sheet in post-game. Luka, 12 rebounds, like I said, 33, 12, and 8 in 31 minutes. 10 of 18 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 10 of 12 at the line. And, a plus 30. That's pretty good. But I know what you're saying. How did KP fare? KP had actually been rolling a little bit before without Luka, so how did he fare in this situation? Well, pretty well, actually, all things considered. KP drops 27 points, 13 boards, 5 assists on 11 of 16 shooting. Now, KP ran wild in the third quarter, knocking down all kinds of shots, mid-rangers particularly. Did have a 3 or 2 in there as well. 3 of 4 from beyond the arc for KP, and 3 blocks in just 33 minutes. So Luka and KP combined for 60 points, 25 rebounds, 13 assists, and 3 blocks. And neither of them had to play more than 33 minutes. That is pretty phenomenal stuff here. Now, I see that we got a bunch of people in the house here. I don't know why the chat is not showing me your guys' comments. Let me try and reload the chat and see if it comes through here, because if you guys are talking, I'm not seeing it right now. So let me see what I can do about that. But all the same, this is a quality Mavericks win here. Let me run through some of the notes I got here. So we did not get the debut of Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Rick Carlisle said before the game that he still needs to basically work getting ready in terms of conditioning and all that. Charlotte did not play him very much. But Carlisle did add that he thinks that MKG can be he's going to make him the best 3-and-D weapon that he can. And he even pointed out, as Reese points out from Dallas Sports Fanatic on Twitter, points out, in the corners, MKG is a 40% three-point shooter. That's not bad, especially with this team and the way that they move the ball. They like those corners. Let's see. Yes, I know some people are going to try and discredit this win a little bit, and they're going to say, well, hey, it's the Kings. How proud can you really be about the Kings? The Kings are a bad team this year. That's a valid argument, except they had actually gained some momentum. I can't get the comments showing up there on the monitor, but I can get them here on my phone. So we're going to roll with it here, nice and handheld, although that does somewhat limit then my ability to refer to my notes. But we'll work with it. We'll work with it. So let me give some salutes in the house here. Trevor Foster, what's up? Glad, not the first one in the house, bro. What's up? Let's see here. Let's see. Jacob, what's good? But yes, the Kings had won 6 out of 9 games, I believe. I think they were 6-3 over their last 9 games. So they had a little bit of momentum. But yeah, Sacramento is in a bad way. The thing is, you got to beat the team that's there in front of you. And this is a team who, like it or not, Dallas is not a good home team this year. Basically a game over 500. And this is a team that had lost earlier this year to the Kings as well. They needed this win. They needed momentum, and really they needed a solid win. And they got that. Like, that's the good thing, is they were able to basically control this game throughout. This game never really felt like it was in much doubt, but once KP and Luka got going in the third quarter, it was game over. Like, there was nothing they could do. And you know what? Seth Curry was in his bag of tricks tonight, man. He was making some very nice plays as well. Tim Hardaway Jr., big contributions. This equates to the Mavericks' 33rd win of the season. They won 33 games all of last year. They have matched last season's win total before the All-Star break this year. That's pretty nice because they still even got a shot. Basically play 500 basketball and you still, or just a little over 500 basketball, and you've still got a shot at a 50-win season, which is pretty impressive. And if you jumped in by chance to the community thread earlier, you saw basically a lot of people piling on, myself included, to at Nick Central on Twitter, who back in October basically decried the Mavericks, saying that they were delusional about the whole thing with the KP trade, and that when they win 32 games this year, it'll be hilarious, basically. Funny how that works. You guys got 17 wins, which, by my calculations, is just over half of what we have right now. And yeah, you guys haven't won jack anyway. So, not even worth consideration there. KP finding some rhythm. Luka's had rhythm at times this year. And I really like what they were able to do, put that all together. So yeah, if you wanna jump on that thread, I guarantee you can find it, because a bunch of other people on Mavericks Twitter have come across that tweet from Alex B. But it is what it is. Let's see here. So Luka and KP, 21 of 34 combined from the field for them. That's 61.8%. Add in, like I said, 25 boards, 13 assists, and 3 blocks. That's courtesy of Mavs PR on Twitter. Yes, this is pretty nice stuff here. Let's see. This is from Tyler Adams on Twitter as well, real quick, last tweet before I jump back into the stat sheet in the comments here. The Hawks, we know that the draft day trade. Atlanta trades Dallas, Luka to Dallas. The Knicks traded the Mavericks, KP, and Hardaway, and the Mavericks get their 33rd win of the year. Meanwhile, the Hawks and Knicks combined have 32 wins. You just love to see it. You love to see it. It is what it is. Two of the fan bases that have probably been saltiest in our direction, unless Eastside is still in here, in which case he's still chirping about the Rockets. But really nice to see those other teams struggling a little bit with all the trash they throw our direction. Let's see here. God, I've got to get these stupid comments rolling here. Let me take a look through here again, make sure I've got everybody. Harmon, what's good? Imagine skipping Luke on the draft. That would be pretty bad if they had. KP's monster dunk was legit. What do I think about MKG's potential role? I think Carlisle already kind of gave us some insight into that. They're going to use him more as a front court kind of player. He's going to be a 4 or 5. They think he'll be great on the perimeter in terms of switching defenses. He's a versatile defender. Not a super elite defender, but a very capable defender in stretches. And he can switch very well, so that's going to help a lot in pick and rolls on the perimeter. I think that's good for Dallas. I do. I think that adds a little something for them. And we've seen how in the corners they can make some things happen as well. In terms of those skip passes. You saw a beautiful one in this game. I want to say it was Seth Curry who drove baseline and did that bounce pass around the defense to Tim Hardaway Jr. in the opposite corner, who then splashes the 3. those kind of looks are going to be there. And it's not just Luka who's got the fancy dishes in this case. You see a little bit of that from Seth Curry, who, for the most part, has been on an upward swing in recent weeks. And I'm really glad to see him kind of realizing that a little bit. Them using him somewhat more as a combo guard, I think, is helping him some. Let's see. Good question, by the way. Let's see. MJ23 just got home from the game. That's sweet, man. You saw a great game. Best Mavs cast around. Big fan, DDP. Appreciate you, Pancho. Let's see. Which team should the Mavs worry about facing in the playoffs? As far as playoffs are concerned, I mean, the only team that we just haven't matched up with well thus far this year in terms of the West is the Clippers. They have a lot of length and athleticism on the perimeter that gives us fits, but I don't think that they're gunning for the 1 seed, obviously. I think even in the case of the Lakers, we've shown we can go toe-to-toe with them. They've really, what's that series tied at 2-2? The first one we got, no, you know what? We only beat them once so far. We're 1-2 against them. But we should have beaten them the first game. We got robbed. And then we took it to them on their floor. And then they won in a close game. It ended up being a closer game down the stretch. Here. That was when I was on my vacation. So my memory is a little fuzzier on that because it's a game I didn't cover. In fact, I think that might have been the game that broke my streak of covering every game this year. Let's see. Houston effing Rockets. Well, the Houston effing Rockets lost to Phoenix a couple nights ago, so I don't know. Your experiment's interesting, I'll give you that, having no center other than, like, PJ Tucker's 6'5" ass. Let's see here. Sonny. Poor Fox got brutalized tonight. He had a hard night for sure. MKG is better than Justin Jackson. Yeah, Justin Jackson's been a disappointment for me this year. He's shown flashes, but he looks like he's lost some of that confidence right now. And I've acknowledged this. I was totally off on this step. I did not see the step that Dorian Finney-Smith was going to make this year. Big step forward for Dodo. And as a result of that, the argument I was trying to make before the season started that Justin Jackson should be the 5th starter instead of Dodo looks really freaking stupid right now. It's one of those things where if you flash back to an old clip right before the season started of me making that argument, or worse, the articles I wrote about it that then got shared and aggregated through Bleacher Report and all that, I look rather stupid, I'm sure. Somebody probably has collected that receipt, but you know what? It happens. You're going to have some misses. I like to hope that at least my percentage is, a little balanced, or better yet, in the positive, in the black, not the red. Let's see. Is DeLon Wright back yet? Yes, sir. Keep the videos coming, bro, says Chris Tucker. Appreciate you, man. Man, we got 72 people in here. What is up? I'm honestly a little surprised we got this many people middle of the week this late at night. Been working overtime this week. I know I've been a little bit quieter than usual, but school is ridiculous trying to finish this master's degree. Some of these essays and things like that I'm having to work on are just crazy time consuming. And so I'm here. I just don't have the camera and microphone on that allow me to talk Mavericks in those cases. But yes, sir. Let's see. Maxey was a monster. Dude, that chase down block Maxey had. Ooh. Mwah, perfection. Swats it off the rim so violently he practically dunked it himself. Seth Curry 3-point contest in place of Dame, asks Chris Tucker. I don't think that's going to happen this last minute. Tim Hardaway I could see doing it. Either guy would be a good fill. I know obviously Seth Curry just moved into the active leader for 3-point percentage for his career, passing his brother actually. But I haven't heard anything to that extent. It wouldn't shock me, but at the same time, I don't know if there's any traction in that regard. But yes, with Dame being out now, they're going to have to fill an all-star replacement, which means Devin Booker might finally get his in. And yeah, they'll have to find someone for the 3-point contest. Man, we got all kinds of great activity here. You guys are awesome. Let's see here. So while I wait for some of these to keep rolling in, let's run back through the stat sheet here. Some other call-outs. I called out earlier Tim Hardaway Jr. I did not mention specifics. 19 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 7 of 14 from the field, 5 of 11 from beyond the arc. When you're getting that kind of production out of Hardaway Jr., and part of that's just Luka Doncic being back, but when you get that kind of production out of Tim Hardaway Jr., the Mavericks are just going to be tough to beat. They are, because if he's allowed to be your third guy, you're not dealing with injuries, and he's producing like this, the Mavericks offense is insane. Obviously, 130 points tonight. They did work. They really, really took it to them. And it's not just Luka and KP going off. You get other guys stepping out too. I mentioned Curry earlier. 18 points off the bench, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 7 of 10 shooting. I said earlier he was in his bag of tricks. 7 of 10, 3 of 3 from beyond the arc there. Very nice production. Something I wanted to call out as well. I did not call out. Now, I didn't do a show after the last game, but it was a season high for Tim Hardaway Jr. in that game. He had 33 points. And additionally, it was his high point mark as a Maverick. This game, I want to call out KP with a career high 5 assists. That's pretty nice when you got a big man moving the ball like that and making plays for others. I mean, only one starter had a plus minus in this game. That's Jalen Brunson, in case you're wondering. The only other Mavericks with minuses overall, negatives, CauleyStein gets a -1, Boban gets a -1, and Justin Jackson gets a -4. But it's Hardaway plus 27, KP plus 27, Luka plus 30, Dodo plus 13, and then Curry and them, it's plus 3, plus 2, all that. So very nice production. I don't know what the Kings are going to do because they're in just complete turmoil right now. You got Harrison Barnes growing out the hair and the beard, basically kind of recreating the Mavericks circa 2013, 2014. Or no, it was 12-13 when they did the no shave until they reached 500 again, and you got just the most epic Dirk Grizzly Man beard ever. That is what Harrison Barnes is apparently trying to do for the Kings. He's got a ways to go. I don't think he's going to make it. I think it's going to be the end of the year, and he'll be able to shave it then because they're not getting back to 500. They're in total disarray. They've moved Buddy Hield to the bench. They just gave him a lot of money. Buddy Hield was one of the few bright spots for them tonight. Now, he wasn't super productive. 22 points on 21 shots, 8 of 21. Not great. I'm wondering kind of what's going on with that situation. The way that they spent big, they paid big for Harrison Barnes, Buddy Hield. They gave him his massive extension. They're going to have De'Aaron Fox coming up and all that. They've got things they've got to figure out. They opted to hold on to Bogdanovic at the deadline, which is a little surprising to me. But I don't know, man. I see them headed towards a difficult road where they might have to start making some serious changes. Obviously, we're past the deadline, so they got what they got, but it would not surprise me if they move one or two of these guys in some form or fashion in the offseason. And I don't know. Buddy Hield, I watched him his 4 years at Oklahoma, was never an attitude problem at all. I know that's kind of become his reputation in the last year or so, year and a half probably, in Sacramento. It kind of makes me think it might be more of a culture issue there within the locker room and all that, but I don't know. I think he's a great player. He's probably he is my favorite basketball player out of Oklahoma ever. OU, when I say Oklahoma, not the state as a whole. Although, well, no, what am I saying? Although he's from Jamaica. Point being, I like me some Buddy Hield, and I feel like getting him on a good team, not where he has to be the main guy, obviously, but I think you could get a lot of production out of him. Anyway, I digress. Not a whole lot else to talk about on the Kings side. De'Aaron Fox, 16 points in 31 minutes. Not a great shooting night. 5 of 16, 0 of 3 from 3. Mavericks did whatever they wanted offensively. 56% from the field compared to 41% for the Kings. 43% from beyond the arc. That's 17 of 40 for Dallas. 12 of 39 for the Kings. Mavericks win the free throw battle as well. Basically dead even. The Kings shot one more free throw, but they both made 17 of them. Mavericks 17 of 21. Kings 17 of 22. The Kings did much better on the turnover battle, but Dallas still under its season average with 11. Mavericks out-assisted the Kings by 8, 34-26. They out-rebounded them by 7, although they were killed on the offensive glass 10-3. Thankfully, that didn't play a big role. Dallas protecting the rim, though, with 7 blocks compared to 2. Kings 7 steals to 1. Again, Mavericks don't force a lot of turnovers. We know this. And fouls pretty much dead even. 16 for the Kings, 18 for the Mavs. So, yeah, this game was pretty back and... not back and forth. This game was pretty well in hand. Not back and forth, rather. But very good win for the Mavericks heading into the All-Star break. This team's biggest issue, and I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again for whoever perhaps didn't get to hear me say it at the time. The biggest issue with this team is health. The last 2 months, they have not been healthy. KP and Luka have still only played about 32, 33 games together at this point. And in 16 of the last 21, either one or both of them were missing for the Mavericks. So for them to be sitting where they are at this point, yes, they're in the 7 seed, but sitting where they are right now, it's better than we thought coming into the year. It is. I predicted for the entire season before we even started, before opening night, I had us slated with this current roster at 44 wins. That's outside of the playoff. The playoff team last year, the 8 seed, was the 48-win Clippers. And I said, hey, that's got to be a 15-game improvement from last year. Well, we've got 26, I want to say, off the top of my head, games left. The Mavericks have already matched last season's total. Maybe they don't get to 48, but you look at the padding that they have between them and the other teams really pushing for that 8 seed, there's no way the Mavericks fall out. Like, it would take an utter collapse, and I am knocking on wood, so don't you fear. The fake wood and the real wood. The Mavericks are... Actually, you know what? The Mavericks are up to the 6th seed at this point. They now, because OKC has lost 2, the Mavericks are a half game up on OKC, back for the 6th seed. Hey, there you go. But the Grizzlies are sitting back 4.5 games back of the Mavericks there, and then the Blazers are another few games back of them, and the Spurs are another game back of them. So the Mavericks are sitting in really good position where it would take an utter collapse. And because this team looks like it's getting healthy, I just don't see that happening, man. I do not see that happening. I think this team is going to steady things a little bit and get back on track, because we saw earlier in this year, before KP and Luka started getting injured, and when I talk about that, I'm talking about the first Miami game, or rather the only Miami game this year, when Luka rolled his ankle. From that moment on, this team hasn't been quite the same. Now, they've still had some damn impressive wins. They went to Philadelphia and won. They went to Milwaukee and won. They went to Indiana and won. This team has been really good at times since that first Luka Doncic ankle injury, but they've not put it all together in the way that they did previously. It's not the same team that went into LA and mud stomped the Lakers. Like, health has held them back. Now that you're getting KP coming along a little bit, and tonight's one game. I know it's too small of a sample size to really say it, but prior to the original Luka Doncic ankle injury, you saw signs of Luka and KP starting to gel a little bit better. The production was starting to round into form for KP, where they were working a little bit better hand in hand, and then it got derailed by the injuries. This is a very small sample size of one game. Damn, there's 104 of you in here. Salute. Like the video, subscribe to the Dallas Prospect if you like what we do. But yes, the Mavericks had some, it's a small sample size with one game, but here we are, and it's a nice way to go out into the All-Star break, because sometimes you lay an egg. In years recent, especially last year, the Mavericks just laid absolute eggs before going into the All-Star break, and it kind of just killed some of that momentum, right? You're like, okay, we need to get back on the right foot before the All-Star break, and that sucked. This was the opposite. This was a game that you should have won and should have won big, and you did. 130-111. That's a quality win, and especially when it's at home, a place that has been oddly unfriendly to you in terms of results. That's quality. And the fact that Luka had a very reasonably quiet, as Rick Carlisle called it, 33 points, just shows you the type of player he is and how good this team can be. So I feel good about where this team is. In other news, I think it was on Ben and Skin. Can't remember if it was the Fan or Ben and Skin. They're separate entities now. Ben and Skin are off on 97-1. 97-1. And you have the Fan, obviously, where they used to be. I forget which one Cuban was on, but he basically intimated that the Mavericks were close to 2 separate deals of significance. Now, we know one of those was Danny Green. That would have been if Morris had ended up to the Lakers for that deal to work. He ended up with the Clippers. But if he had gone to the Lakers, the only way they could have made that work would have been if Dallas had jumped in as a third team and brought in Danny Green. That would have been a fantastic addition to this team. But you know what? It is what it is. Like, yes, you would have had veteran leadership. Yes, you would have had some needed defense and some fantastic three-point shooting. But this team still has shown it has weapons, and if its main 2 guys are healthy, it can make some things happen. So this is a year of growth. This is not the year where you look at it and you say, hey, man, we're going for it. We're not. We're not. We did not mortgage the future by swinging big on a major trade because we understood KP just turned 24 before the season. Luka's about to turn 21. We are sitting in very good position. The worst thing we can do is wreck the salary cap for us. That makes things difficult in the next couple of years. Now, I'm not saying you can't make additions. You absolutely can, but you have to be a little bit smart about how you go about it. And I understand, like, people who said they wanted Andre Drummond, that deal wasn't there. An agreeable deal for that was not there. Like, he went for a bag of Skittles, basically, to Cleveland, but for the Mavericks and their fit, they didn't feel like it was worth looking into even. I think maybe if you asked them, hey, what about that price, though, they would have kind of maybe pondered it, but it would have been counterintuitive to their spread the floor philosophy. So I'm not sweating it. I basically think about it in terms of where this team is and where they're doing. We saw in years past how they basically wrecked a fantastic offense by doing too much at the deadline. Rajon Rondo. But they weren't going to do that this time around. This time they said, hey, we're going to stick to our plan. We're going to stick to our philosophy in this case about what this team's outlook is. And if the right thing comes along, then yes, they'll do it. That's why they were still on the phone looking to make significant moves. The question is, are they willing to mortgage the future for something that's unknown? And the answer to that right now looks to be no, thankfully. Now, if we were in a different situation where we're further down the road in terms of KP and Luka's age, or one of them's going into free agency or something like that, and we feel more antsy about it, then maybe there's some added desperation that makes us push for something. But right now it doesn't make sense to, because this year is about getting into the playoffs, getting playoff experience for Luka and KP. KP's never been there, obviously. He was with New York. Who can blame him? And Luka, obviously, second year in the league. He hasn't been there yet either. So this is valuable experience that they need. Like, they don't have much playoff experience at all on the roster. CauleyStein's never been there. MKG's never been there. I don't think. You know what? No, Charlotte got there. Charlotte got there at some point. MKG's got some experience. Seth Curry obviously was in the West Finals last year with Portland, but prior to that, he hadn't been there. You just go down the roster, and you got a lot of guys who have just not gotten that experience. So it's good to get that experience now. And as long as you're not matching up with yes, Barea is a major playoff veteran, obviously from the title team. As long as you're not matched up with the Clippers in the first round, I think you feel really good. Not saying guaranteed, like, oh, even if we're a 7 seed or whatever, we can take down whatever. I'm not decrying that or declaring that. Salute to our new subscriber. I'm not calling that out right now. What I am saying is this team has shown it can go pretty much with anybody. 134, what is up? Apparently the answer is that I just need to do these post-game shows live every time. Who knew? So yes, that's where we're sitting with this whole thing. As long as we don't have the Clippers in the first round, I feel very good that we can have a long competitive series and might even be able to, pull off a major upset in that regard. So I would like to see that, but we'll see. Let me run through some comments here. Salute to Chris Kits, new subscriber. What's up? Appreciate you. Let's see. Can't wait for Luka to kill it in the All-Star game. Yes, sir, says Trevor. Yeah, and not only that, he's also the captain of the Rising Stars Challenge. So Luka's going to be pulling some major duty in this All-Star weekend. And, I heard someone intimate that if he didn't play tonight, he wasn't going to partake in the All-Star weekend. That was never true. That's not maybe that was something the Mavericks discussed internally, but that's not an NBA rule that, hey, if you didn't play the last game before the All-Star break because of injury, then you don't get to participate. No. He could have come back in for that game first if he wanted to. I still have some mild concern about Luka and his ankle, only because when he rolled it the second time, it's the same ankle. Those kind of injuries can really linger. So I know he had 15 days off, 7 games. That's not nothing, though. That's still an injury that can be troublesome as you go along. So tape the shit out of that ankle and do not get in his way if he's going for a rebound. Do not accidentally, step in his way and have him land on your foot or something, because we need this boy. We need this boy really bad. Let's see. Short injury breaks helped Luka observe the game and correct things. It's beautiful to watch. Yeah, I mean, it's a 1-game sample size, but he looked like he didn't miss a beat when he came in. Actually, that's not even true, because prior to the injury, he had actually been struggling with his 3-point shot and things like that, and was much better tonight in that regard. So from that perspective, you might have a point. The time off, not only resting his body and mind, but kind of working on some of his mechanics a little bit as well. What's up from Slovenia? Yeah, so this team basically, with where they're seated, this team was built around Luka playing phenomenal, KP playing at least adequate or very good. He's obviously tonight was a very good, and hopefully we can get more of that. But for the large part of the season, when the team was really wrecking shop, Luka was playing out of his mind. KP was playing decent, and with flashes, but decent. And the rest of the team has to play kind of a step above its usual level. Now, part of that is assisted by playing with Luka and KP, the floor spacing and all of that. And part of it is just the ball movement of the offense and the Mavericks, Carlisle system. We got to see that finally. When they were healthy, this team could beat anybody. They could go in on the road. That's why they became the Road Warriors, is they can go on the road and they can beat anybody. Ask Eastside about the Houston game, the first Houston game when we had both our dudes. And, when they're not healthy, then they're a somewhat average team. They can still have great moments. They've shown that. They won, like I said, at Philadelphia, at Milwaukee, at Indiana, all without Luka. Those are fantastic wins. They're all Eastern Conference wins, but those are all respectable playoff teams in the East. Obviously, the Bucks are the best record in the East, and Philadelphia's kind of dropped off a little bit, but their home record is 24-2 this year, are the 76ers, and the Mavericks are one of those 2 losses. So, not for nothing, they might be trash on the road. They're the opposite of us, but at home, the 76ers are ice, and we got them. So, we got them without Luka. So, health, when it's there, this team's great. When it's not there, this team is okay. They're average with moments where they can play above and at a higher level. But that is what it is. If you don't have that, you don't have the team you need. So as long as they got that, hey, salute for the donation, man. Let me see. Did you have a comment? Love the show. Love from Slovenia. Appreciate it. If they got that, they're good. So we'll see if they can stay healthy now. That's going to be big down this stretch. And, the 4 seed is not far out. I was talking about this the other day. The Jazz are the 4 seed right now. They're 3.5 games up on the Mavericks right now. Excuse me. Yeah, 3.5 games up on the Mavericks right now. The Rockets are a game and a half up. They're in the 5 seed.
Here comes the money.
There's the animation I was expecting.
Here comes the money.
Little delayed, but it came through.
donated €5 through Super Chat. Love this show. Love from Slovenia.
Appreciate you. Yeah, so the Rockets at the 5 seed, they're right there. You can still definitely track them down. And the Jazz you can get the Jazz too. It's really, I mean, hell, if you're catching the Jazz, only a game up on them is the Clippers. Like, the West isn't that far out of reach. Now, you start thinking about it like, oh, well, look at how many games are left. Are you going to make up that much ground? Probably not. You're not making up like 5 games of ground in the final 26, most likely, against these top teams. My point is, you could still get the 4 or 5 seed and have a matchup with like the Jazz or the Rockets potentially in the first round. And I think those are both, the Jazz gives me a little bit of pause only because we've seen KP, while he's been very good rebounding the ball this year, he has not yet had a good rebounding game against Utah. Gobert gives him fits. It's just the physicality of that. But the Mavericks damn near beat the Jazz the other night. They've shellacked him in the past, so I still think overall that's not a terrible matchup, although I don't like the idea of playing in Utah. And the Rockets, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take the matchup. I'll roll the dice and go with that. So we'll see how that works out. Let's see. I'm going to read some comments here, and then I'm going to wrap up this stream. I still got some paper I got to work on for my class. So let me just run through here. Love how KP moved the ball around finally in some plays, made them shoot. Well done. Yeah, KP, like I said, career high 5 assists for him. Definitely very good moving the ball this game. It didn't stick to his hands. I would like to see when he catches the ball like in the middle ground there. I'd like to see whether he's at the elbow or kind of in the middle of the paint. He squares up and he just shoots right over the top. And I get it, you're 7'3". I'd like to see him incorporate some kind of like jab step or something. Like Dirk was a master of creating space just through subtle manipulation like that. And KP doesn't really do that. He kind of just rises up over the top. And I don't dig that. Yeah, I don't dig that. Facts God, I don't know why Nightbot jumped on you, but let me see here. Ignore that, Facts God. Sometimes Nightbot, which I'm still working with, can be a little bit over the top. Oh, hey, I don't know if there's any mods in here, but let me try something. This is one of the things Nightbot does. Let's see if it actually does it. It's supposed to throw in here, basically drop the link for, yeah, there it is. Drops the link for the merch and all that. Is Harkless possible? I'm interested, but I'm not hearing much encouragement in that regard. I think that might not be going anywhere, which is a little disappointing, but I don't know what the Mavericks are going to look to do in that regard. I think they've kind of got the roster that they're going to work with at this point. Thoughts on the MVP race? Dame, we'll see how he comes back from this. I think it's a groin injury, I heard. We'll see how he comes back from that. He's been playing out of his mind recently. LeBron has played great all year. James Harden is still doing James Harden things. Yeah, to me, my gut would say Giannis or Dame right now, just based on the past month, kind of how I've been feeling about it. But we'll see. I mean, honestly, I don't follow the MVP race that close until like the very home stretch. So it would usually be after the All-Star break that I start really paying attention to it. But that's just my gut feeling on it right now. Thoughts on Luka going at it with Walton? I don't really care, honestly. Like it's just like when Kennard or whatever from Detroit and the game in Mexico City started talking smack about Luka and said something about him being a pussy, and it's like, dude just dropped like a 38-point triple-double on you, and you're gonna run your mouth? Good luck. Like, I don't care. I think Luke Walton, if he's butthurt because his team's getting styled on, then do something about it. That's what it boils down to. You don't like the fact that Luka's scoring on you? DM up. Don't let him score on you. Like, it's kind of, and I have that same mentality with football too. Like when a team goes on the road and wins, and then they like plant their flag at midfield, and everyone like gets all up in their arms and starts clutching at their pearls, like, "Oh no, have you no civility?" I don't care if you didn't want them to style on your home field. Don't let them win. Don't let them score in bunches on you. I feel the same way in this regard. Like, other teams come in. How many times have you seen opponents come in, even to the AAC, have big games, and then they're taunting our crowd? Like, yeah, it sucks, but you know what? We didn't stop them. Like, it is what it is. So I don't know what Luke Walton's hang-up was in this particular case. I don't really care if you didn't like something Luka said or vice versa. Means nothing to me. Mavericks get a very much needed win, and the Kings continue to be irrelevant in this case as they head towards disaster. Do you know what's coming in a Dallas versus Miami matchup? Do I know specifically? You're talking about, well, given who it is, I'm assuming you're going to be talking about Luka versus Dragic. Is MKG the right man? Asks Big O. I think he can add some much needed defense to this team. I think he's not gonna be a starter. He's gonna be used, I think, a little bit more than we've seen Willie CauleyStein. I'm honestly a little surprised you're not seeing more Willie CauleyStein, but I think Dallas is largely going to use him more in bursts and try and use him as a versatile defender more so than relying on him actually shooting corner threes, even if Carlisle does say, hey, by the way, he shoots 40% from the corners. Well, that's great, but it's still a career 28% three-point shooter. He's attempted 100 three-pointers in his 6-year career. Is it a 6-year career? Is it a 7-year career? He's 26 years old. 28 of 100 for his career. So even if he's 40% from the corners, I got to think you're not going to be shooting too many of those. And here's the thing. I was sad to see Brokov go because he's a really good dude. Even when I was in the locker room for the game I went to earlier this year with credentials, he was a really cool dude, really personable, could just talk to him about whatever. Like, he was really, really good dude. And I'm sad to see him go. And yes, he's a 40% three-point shooter for his year and a half with Dallas. But we needed to address defense. This team being the most efficient offense in the league is not because of Ryan Brokov shooting 40% from three and his 4 or 5 points, whatever he averaged a game this year. It's not our issue. It's so much more than that. Why our offense is what it is. What we needed to address was the glaring weakness of our defense, particularly our three-point defense, our defense around the perimeter, dealing in those cases with pick and rolls, with switches and all of that, where teams are getting the mismatch. That is what MKG is for. Former number 2 overall pick, not, it's a broke-ass jump shot, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a game-changing signing. What I am saying is I think it makes the team better, and I think it's a guy who can give you some big contributions in select situations. So, and when I say big contributions, that could just mean a big defensive stop or something for us. So, he is injury prone. Welcome to our new subscriber, Blue Crate. What's up? He can give you he's been injury prone, yes. But at the same time, I still think that it's such a low cost investment for them. And considering how many minutes a night he'll be playing, it feels like a no-brainer. It feels like a worthwhile move to me that you got to make. It's okay to miss the accountant, Ryan Brokov, and still say it's not MKG's fault. It's not like MKG had a role in it beyond just, hey, this playoff contending team wanted to sign him, and he's like, yeah, that seems like a place I'd like to play. People act like he went to Ryan's house, hand-delivered the pink slip, and then kicked his dog on the way out. Like, no. He signed a contract to play basketball somewhere that wanted him. Let's see here. Thoughts on Luka shooting threes? I'll take 3 more quick questions. I better see you in a playoff game in Dallas, DDP. What, like in the crowd or in the media? In the media is going to be damn hard. I'll get there eventually, but doing that as a credentialed media member for the playoff game, especially when we haven't been in 3 years, sounds quite difficult. In the crowd, you got a pretty good shot at that. Thoughts on Luka shooting threes? I'd like him to take fewer. I know this game seemed like he had a good stroke going in that regard. I think he was like, 3 of 7, something to that effect. So welcome as well to our new subscriber. Let's see here. I'm just going to shorten it. Valen, what's up? What was Luka here in this game? 3 of 7. Yeah, I was right. 3 of 7 from beyond the arc. So still not like crazy. It's not like he was 5 of 6 or something like that. But I am encouraged, nevertheless, by the fact that he didn't shoot 12. I don't want him shooting 12, honestly. He's not a high enough percentage three-point shooter this year to be taking that many attempts right now, at least. If he gets hot, if he gets going where suddenly over the course of 4 games, he's knocking down like he was prior to the All-Star break last year, like 37, 38%, then I will green light you for more of those. But when you're shooting around 32, barely 33%, then I get a little leery of taking 12 threes a game. I also think in this case with KP shooting about 4 threes, I think that's also a healthier number as well for him. I actually liked that we saw some KP in the mid-range tonight. We did not get enough of that throughout the season, and that's where he did a lot of damage in New York. And I know that's a triangle offense, it's a different system altogether, but you can still take advantage of it and benefit in those ways. Let's see here. I'm just curious because we've had several people drop in here. Yeah, cool. Yeah, gained about 5 people here in this stream. What's up? Let's see. Keep up the good work, DDP, and hope you have a good semester. Appreciate you, Chris. Yeah, got to get through the semester, but it'll be worth it, man. Once I get the actual degree, the master's degree and everything sorted out, I plan to actually move into sports journalism as a career. So with the blend of that comes the mix of these, where these are more informal, but the main thing would be my articles and everything like that. But I also want to be able to bring a lot more content as well beyond just Mavericks as well as I build that up. So I'll get into all that later, but there's big things coming. Alex, when is the next live stream? Sunday. I know I've talked about Sundays. I keep running into schedule conflicts with any, which keeps delaying the return of Mavs Fast Break. But Sunday is probably the day for that in this case. That's my guesstimate right now. It's hard for me to do live streams during the week. I mean, even in this case, it's almost midnight and I got an 8 a.m. class, so I'm screwing myself because even after I get off this stream, I still got to work for probably another 45 minutes to finish this paper. But I do it all to talk Mavericks and to talk with you guys because I feel like I haven't been here enough lately on the streams, on the channel. And I just miss talking with you guys, talking Mavericks. So I wanted to jump on here for a bit. Let's see. I think that about catches everything up with the questions. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to wrap up this stream, guys. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you don't mind, take a moment, drop a like. If you like what you see here with the Dallas Prospect, give us a subscribe. We try to give pretty much every game, about 80% of the games, post-game shows, whether it's the same night. A lot of times it is. Sometimes it will be the next morning. But give you post-game analysis and all of that. We'll drop in live streams like this. And a whole lot of other content as well as we grow. Pretty much a one-man operation, so any support is greatly appreciated. But if you like it, check it out. Don't forget to check out the t-shirts as well at represent.com. I'll drop the link in here actually one more time. Let's see here. Check out the Road Warrior merch for the Mavericks. It's a custom shirt design that I worked with a graphic artist on. And then you've got as well the new Every Legend. I don't know why I'm doing this as if I'm wearing it. I'm not. The new Skyline Dallas Prospect shirt. Every Legend was once a prospect, so check that out as well. But until next time, guys. Well, I already ran through it, so I almost went into my spiel again, but I kind of just gave it. So one last note. Remember, every legend was once a prospect. Peace. Nailed it.